The NFL didn't just drop news today, it detonated a bomb. Two massive trades, a Cowboys wide receiver situation brewing in the background, and the NFC power structure just got flipped completely upside down. If you're a Cowboys fan, buckle up, because today was one of those days that will define the entire 2025 season before it even truly begins. If this kind of Cowboys coverage gets your blood pumping, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and share this with every Cowboys fan you know. Let's build this community together. Here's what's on the table today. George Pickens nowhere to be found at OTAs, Myles Garrett officially becoming a Ram, the A.J. Brown trade to New England now confirmed, a new wide receiver signing in Dallas, and Odell Beckham making a surprise return to the New York Giants, the Cowboys' Week 1 opponent. Every single one of these storylines connects back to Dallas in a major way, so let's tear through all of it right now. George Pickens is already playing games, and it's only June. Let's start with the elephant in the room. George Pickens did not show up for the first days of Cowboys OTAs. Now before anyone panics, let's be very clear, OTAs are completely voluntary. This is not a holdout. Nobody is getting fined. Nobody is in breach of contract. But here's the thing that makes this sting just a little bit: when a player who is visibly unhappy about his contract situation decides to skip even the optional workouts, it sends a message. And Pickens is absolutely sending one. He signed his franchise tag. That tag is not getting rescinded. So whatever frustration he's carrying into this offseason, the Cowboys made their position crystal clear. The real question isn't whether he showed up to voluntary OTAs, it's what happens on June 16th. That is mandatory minicamp. If George Pickens is not on that field on June 16th, we are in full-blown holdout territory. Fines start stacking. The relationship between player and organization gets tested in a very public, very uncomfortable way. And for a receiver who already signed the tag, skipping mandatory minicamp would be one of the most baffling power moves in recent Cowboys history. Here's your first question to sit with: do you actually believe George Pickens will show up for mandatory minicamp on June 16th? Think about that, because the answer shapes everything about how this Cowboys receiving core functions heading into training camp. The July 15th deadline for a long-term tag extension is essentially irrelevant at this point. Everyone in the NFL world understands that no deal is getting done before that date, which means Pickens plays 2025 on the franchise tag, or things get very messy very fast. Training camp in late July is the next real flashpoint after minicamp. Stay locked in on those dates. Myles Garrett to the Rams, and why the Cowboys were never winning that bidding war. Now let's talk about the trade that genuinely reshuffled the entire NFC. Myles Garrett is officially a Los Angeles Ram. And the return the Cleveland Browns received. Absolutely staggering. Jared Verse, one of the most exciting young pass rushers in football, plus a first-round pick in 2027, a second-round pick in 2028, and a third-round pick in 2029. That is a franchise-altering package in both directions. The Rams got their generational defender. The Browns got a young ascending edge rusher on a rookie contract plus draft capital. And the Cowboys? They were spectators. Here's the reality that Cowboys fans need to accept. Dallas was never going to win this trade. Not because the front office didn't want Myles Garrett, but because they simply do not have the assets to compete with what Los Angeles assembled. The Cowboys don't have a Jared Verse equivalent to offer. Their 2027 first-round pick has reportedly been frozen. Their 2028 first is locked up as part of the Kenny Clark and Micah Parsons contract structure with Green Bay. The cupboard of tradable premium assets is genuinely bare. The Rams operate in a completely different philosophical universe than the Cowboys. Los Angeles has always been willing to mortgage future capital for present dominance. Dallas has not operated that way. And right now, that difference in organizational DNA means the Rams just became the clear favorite to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. One more thing to circle on your calendar: Cowboys vs. Rams, Week 15. If both teams are in playoff contention, that game could be an absolute war. Myles Garrett on one sideline, Micah Parsons on the other. That matchup alone is worth the price of admission. The A.J. Brown trade is done, and what it actually means for Dallas: the Philadelphia Eagles have officially traded A.J. Brown to the New England Patriots. Brown gets his fresh start. The Eagles receive a 2028 first-round pick and a 2027 fifth-round pick. Philadelphia waited until after June 1 specifically to split the dead money across 2 cap years, making the financial structure far more manageable. Now here's the real conversation: what does this mean for the Cowboys? Dallas plays Philadelphia twice every single season. Losing A.J. Brown is not a minor inconvenience for the Eagles. That is removing one of the 5 best wide receivers in the entire NFL from their offense. Jalen Hurts now enters 2025 without his most dangerous weapon. Philadelphia's replacement options are younger and unproven at that level. From a purely competitive standpoint, the Cowboys should view this as a meaningful window of opportunity in the NFC East. The Patriots, on the other hand, are clearly building something around Drake Mayfield on a cost-controlled contract. Adding a proven, motivated A.J. Brown to that offense is aggressive and smart. New England is no longer just collecting draft picks, they are spending them on impact players. For the Eagles, Howie Roseman likely got the maximum value available in this trade. Future first-round picks always carry more perceived value than present ones. But in 2025, the Eagles are unquestionably a lesser threat than they were last season. Cowboys fans should feel genuinely good about that. Question of the day: drop your answer in the comments right now. Will the Cowboys finish ahead of the Eagles in the NFC East standings this season without A.J. Brown in Philadelphia? Let's hear it. Comment your prediction below. Odell Beckham Jr. is back, but should Cowboys fans actually worry? The New York Giants signed 3 wide receivers today following an injury to one of their starters. Among those 3, Odell Beckham Jr. is officially back in the NFL after sitting out the entire 2025 season. Braxton Berrios also returns to New York, and Juju Smith-Schuster rounds out the trio of veteran additions. And look, Odell Beckham making a splash catch on a Sunday afternoon is still entirely possible. He has that in him. But let's be brutally honest about the trajectory here. He was barely a factor with Miami. He missed significant time before that with injury. His last truly dominant stretch of football was years ago. The Giants signing him feels more like a nostalgia play than a genuine roster upgrade. The more pressing concern for Dallas heading into Week 1 is that Malik Nabers, New York's most explosive weapon, appears to be dealing with a significant injury. Recent footage suggests he is nowhere close to being game-ready. If Nabers misses Week 1, the Giants' receiving core becomes very thin very fast, and that is a genuine advantage for the Cowboys' defense right out of the gate. Odell Beckham joining the Giants reminds Cowboys fans of when Dallas brought back a diminished Ezekiel Elliott last season. The vibes were fun. The production was not what anyone hoped. This feels like exactly the same situation wearing blue instead of silver and blue. The Cowboys also added a wide receiver today. Dallas quietly signed undrafted free agent Romello Brinson on a standard 3-year rookie deal. This signing essentially replaces Paris Campbell on the depth chart. The honest assessment is that Brinson faces an incredibly steep climb to make the 53-man roster. With CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, and several other established receivers already occupying spots, finding room for an undrafted rookie is genuinely difficult. His best realistic path to staying in the NFL right now runs directly through special teams excellence. Today was genuinely one of the most loaded news days of the entire offseason. The NFC landscape shifted dramatically. The Cowboys' most important storyline, George Pickens, continues to simmer. June 16th is the date that matters most. Everything else is background noise until that mandatory minicamp begins.